everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to another Makers with Heart collaboration. This month, the Makers with Heart will be working with the Operationsmile stamp set called smilebig. And each of us have chosen one of the new colors from the Close to My Heart color palette to use with this stamp set. So be sure to click on the playlist at the end of this video to see all of the creative things that the other Makers with Heart have done with this stamp set and new colors. Okay, so let's get started. I have chosen the color Capri. This is a beautiful light aqua blue. And then this is the smilebig stamp set. I'm going to be creating 3 cards using this stamp set with Capri. I'm also going to use floral snowflakes, the shaker window thin cut, and the kaleidoscope embossing folder. This is Capri, the dark side and the light side, and then I'll use Capri glitter paper. This glitter paper is beautiful, so I'm excited to work with it. Okay, so first card, I'm going to get started by cutting the light side of Capri at 4 by 5 1/4, so I can have a white border around the edges of my card. And I'm going to bring my big shot in. I'm going to emboss this with the kaleidoscope embossing folder. So I'm kind of looking at where I want the embossing to be on my Capri cardstock, and then I'll run this through. And then we have that beautiful design embossed on the light side of Capri. So I'm going to bring in some scratch paper and a blending brush, and I'm going to go over this embossed design with Capri ink just to bring it out a little bit more. It defines the embossed edges and just gives it a little more texture. So I'm gonna blend this brush all around, and it looks a bit splotchy, but once it dries it's fine, and it brings out the design of the embossing folder. And then I'm gonna bring my trimmer back in, and I'm gonna cut some white daisy cardstock. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "Be the reason someone smiles today," on white daisy, and I'm just deciding how much I need. And so I'm going to trim that down to 2.5 inches square, and then I'm going to bring my glitter paper in and cut that at 2 3/4 square so that I have a nice bold border around this white daisy piece. Okay, so I'm going to stamp out my sentiment in Capri. And then I'm going to color in the word "be" with a metallic marker from Spectrum Noir in silver. Okay, so we'll get that colored in. And then to give my sentiment a little more definition, I'm going to doodle some lines around the edges with this journaling pen from La Pen Marviachita. Okay, so just draw a little line around the edges, and then I'm ready to start assembling. So before I lay my background panel down, I'm going to wrap it with some silver embellishing thread. So I'm pulling enough to wrap it around 3 times, and I'm going to attach it with glue dots. Before I wrap everything, I'm going to run my bone folder along it to remove the kinks that are in the thread from packaging. And then I'll attach it with glue dots. And we'll wrap it around just for a little added interest at the bottom portion of the card. It's a little fiddly, but wrap it around there and add as many glue dots as you need. Okay, and then I decided I wanted to pop that whole panel with craft foam. So this is thin craft foam I got off Amazon. Just trimming down a bit, and I'll get my card base out. And then I'll add that panel, and I'm using the white glue from Tombow. It's a nice sticky glue that works really well with craft foam. So get that put down, and I'll add my sentiment, and then I'll pop the sentiment with the glitter paper on the front of the card using craft foam as well. I'll get a piece of that out and then we'll add that to the front of the card. And then I'll have some close-ups in a second of the finished card. Okay. Be the reason someone smiles today. Love all that texture from the embossing folder. Okay, let's make another card. I'm going to bring the light side of Capri in, and I'm going to cut that at 4 by 5 1/4 again, so I have another white border around. And I'm going to random stamp these floral snowflakes all over this panel. So I'm going to use both Capri and then second generation Capri. So to second gen stamp, you just stamp down and then you huff, you go, so the moisture from your breath moistens the stamp again, and then you stamp a second time. So you get the regular Capri ink and then a lighter version of it. And I'm just going to random stamp a bunch of different sizes of snowflakes all over this panel. That's a second gen right there. I'll go in with the same one at the regular inked up version, and then I'll sprinkle some of the smaller ones in between. So we have a random stamp panel here. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in this gloss spray from Dina Wakley. It's white, and instead of spritzing it, I'm going to take the spritzer out of the bottle and I'm just going to tap it around randomly so that it looks like there's snow falling and have white splatters over that panel. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my Big Shot back in and I'm going to cut my shaker. So this is the shaker window die. So you have a background die, and I'm going to cut that in White Daisy. And then my overlay is going to be cut in the Capri glitter paper. So I'll run that through. So then I have a frame around the edges of my shaker. Okay. Get that out of the way. And then I'm going to bring in some Capri. Now this is the regular side, not the light side. And I'm going to stamp some of these snowflakes in sapphire ink. And then I'm going to die cut them with the coordinating dies. So I've chosen 3, but then off screen I decided to do some layering, and I chose another snowflake shape. And you'll see later on I did that off screen, so same process. So I'm going to run these through with the coordinating dies and cut them out. These are beautiful snowflakes. They're detailed and just easy to work with and really pretty. Okay, so now we have a few snowflakes to decorate the front of the card. Then I'm going to flip over my Versamat and I'm going to stamp on this White Daisy piece. But before I do that, I'm going to do a just really light wash of Capri on the White Daisy, just to make it a really light color of Capri. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment that says, "You make my heart smile." And I'm going to stamp that in sapphire. Okay. All right. So now we can start assembling our shaker. All right, so this is the shaker foam and acetate. So if you just run your fingernail along, there's a coating on the acetate. So if you just get it started and loosen it up, and then pull this circle frame away from the foam and keep the protective coating on the top of it, so it's only sticky on the bottom, and then you lay that down on your circle. All right, and then you can put your shaker bits in. So I thought I was going to use these bitty beads, but then I decided to use some Bluebell loose sequins, and these are still available in the online only portion of my store. And then I'm going to add in some of these snowflake sequins, and these are iridescent and just really pretty snowflake shapes of sequins. Just put a couple small pinches in there because I still want to be able to read that sentiment. And then you just peel off the protective coating and lay your acetate piece down on top of it. And then you can peel away that protective coating on your acetate. Now I'm going to add the glitter frame. I'm just going to use Tombow tape runner and put that down on top. And then you have your shaker window. Super fun. Okay, now we can build our card. And I'm going to lay down that snowflake panel with Tombow, leaving a white border around the edges. And then I'll add my shaker window. I'm just going to kind of lay things out on the front of the card first before I start adhering. I'll just attach my shaker window with Tombow as well. This is the new mono air tape runner from Tombow, and I love it. It's so easy to work with. Then I'm using these bits that are in the center of the shaker window foam tape, and you get extra bits, so save those to use for this project or others. I'm going to use those to add my snowflakes around the edges of my shaker window. So I started to use this medium-sized snowflake, and it wasn't working, so I'm going to add the itty-bitty one, and then off screen I used a different sized so that I can layer it in the center of this larger one. So I'll put that down with the glue dot. That fits better. And then I'm going to add one little iridescent snowflake in the center. I think this is my favorite of the 3 cards that I made. Love it. Here's some close-ups here. Okay, you make my heart smile. That one turned out pretty. Shaker cards are so much fun to make. Okay, last card. All right, I'm going to bring Capri back in, and again, it's the light side. I'm going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4. And this one, I'm going to random stamp all of these smile sentiments from smilebig stamp set. I just pulled several of them, and I'm going to random stamp them all around the background piece of this card. Okay, so I'm using Smile Big, Laugh Often, I Treasure Your Smile, You Make My Heart Smile, and just kind of fitting them all in here like a puzzle. So we'll get a pattern background piece for our card front. Okay, so when you purchase this stamp set, a portion of the price you pay goes towards Operationsmile. All right, so now we have our background piece, and then I'm going to splatter some of this shimmer brush over the background, and this is in Bluebird. Just tap some of that around and get some shimmer and shine. Now these dies are called Stitched Fancy Brackets, and I'm going to cut a piece of white daisy cardstock with the smaller one, and then I'm going to bring in this glitter paper and cut the larger fancy bracket and layer those. Okay, get the big shot out of the way, and I can stamp my sentiment in the center of this smaller one. So I'm going to use Be the reason someone smiles today. I'll stamp that in the center. And the die embosses stitching around the edges, so the piece is already defined. That's all ready to go, so we can start building the cards. So I've got a regular A2 card base. I'm going to put my background piece down using Tombow, and then I'm going to assemble my sentiment on the glitter paper, and then I'll pop that with foam tape. And for some added interest, I've got a tangle of the silver embellishing thread. I'll scooch that under with glue dots. And then for the last step, I'm going to paint the word B using the shimmer brush. So all of the supplies used for these cards are available in my online store, and I will make a list with links in the description below. Here's some close-up shots of that card. So be sure to click on the playlist to see what the other Makers with Heart collaborators have created. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Then you'll be able to find all of my videos. I appreciate you watching today. Thank you.